Good. We could start. We have mostly everybody.
Okay. Meryl, what do you say?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at your picture, Meryl, on the camera. Okay. First of all, hope everybody had a wonderful Shabbos. And weather was beautiful. We're holding Pirkai Avos again, Aleph and Yud Beis. Now, this is a name obviously more people are familiar with. Shammai and Hillel and Shammai. So Hillel, the Shammai Kiblu Mehem. The next set of Zugos are Hillel and Shammai, and they were the premier students of Shemaiah and Avtalion that we had before. And the Mishneh starts first with the Nasi Hillel, which is unusual actually, because wherever we speak in the Gemara, we have Hillel and Shammai come up many, many, many times. And usually the name Shammai comes up before the name Hillel, because the yeshiva of what we call Beis Shammai was much, much larger than Beis Hillel. But over here, Hillel was the Nasi, so we always begin with the Nasi. It's one of the reasons why they say over here, we start with Hillel. Now, Hillel and it starts a new phase in the way Torah was learned in a way, because wherever you learn in the Gemara, we talk about Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, which means really there's constant argument on halacha between the Beis Shammai and the Beis Hillel, which means the yeshiva of Shammai and the yeshiva of Hillel. But it doesn't say that Hillel and Shammai themselves argued. So the Mefarshim say that usually the Talmud is closer to the Rebbe, and therefore it's the Rebbe that is the one that's always mentioned. But over here, the drop-off between the Beis Shammai's Talmidim and Beis Hillel's Talmidim to Shammai and Hillel, because they were such great in Torah, and then you will see soon in many, many other attributes that they had, that they had these arguments of halacha. And why did they have these arguments of halacha? We learned earlier that the greatest form of learning is you can go to college and get a degree in doctor. You can get a doctor, you become a doctor. And he becomes a doctor who knows that what you learn in college, and you almost, the one that got the A in college doesn't make him a better doctor than the one that got a C. It's when he went into the hospital and he started working and interning, and he picked up all the knowledge that previous doctors had, which means practical knowledge that makes what makes a doctor greater than other doctors. Of course, you have to know the basics and fundamentals, but it's what you learn in the hospital themselves that you really become who you become. The Talmidim of Hillel and Shammai they weren't, like we said earlier, Mishamshe Talmid Chachamim. Mishamshe Talmid Chachamim's people is with the Talmidim, like we said, that Yeshua was a Mishamish of Moshe Rabbeinu. He was constantly around him, and he saw how he behaved, and therefore, from there, he learned what the halach is. If you don't know what to do on Shabbos, and you see your Rebbe not I'm not going to, or not do this, not even say anything, but he doesn't do this. He notices he puts in the water a little different in the coffee or this. So he learned the practical thing, not to know exactly just the fundamentals, but rather watching exactly how it was happening. And that was why they were considered Shammai Beis Hillel, and they were constantly arguing on halacha. But Hillel and Shammai themselves, they were much closer in halacha. And there's one other thing. Hillel was just out throughout all of Shas, he's the makel. He was much more lenient and much more in a way. I'll use the word understanding, for lack of a better word. But Shammai, of course, was understanding. He was more of a halacha straight shooter. This is the way it is, and we don't compromise or we don't bend. So usually, what we say is that the halacha is according to Beis Hillel, because those are what Klal Yisrael would be able to uphold. Beis Hillel's halach is much more than Shammai, because most people prefer a rabbi who is a lot more lenient than not as lenient, somebody strict. However, they say when Mashiach is going to come, the halach will be according to Beis Hillel, because Beis Shammai. Because in those days, when Mashiach will come in Yetz Hashem, it will your nature will be that you want to do everything 100% proper. In that case, that's your nature. So inevitably, you're going to want to do it according to Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai rather. I'm sorry, more machmir. Now the Mishneh talks about Hillel himself. Hillel. Who was Hillel, first of all? Hillel was a descendant through his mother, direct descendant of David HaMelech. So he was royalty. He was also very, very poor, which is interesting, a royal family, but it was exceptionally, exceptionally poor. He was the epitome of what we should look for in a husband. He had unbelievable middays. He would go out and work every single day in the morning. And when he earned a certain amount, it was a coin, but it wasn't a large coin, he would stop working and he would take half the coin or split the value of half the coin and go home and give it to his family so that they should have what to eat and whatever they needed. And the other is an entrance fee into the Beis Medrash. Before he became us, he was very poor, and and this is how he lived. He lived literally from day to day. In the morning, he went to work. He earned a certain amount of money. He stopped working, and after that, he split what he earned. Half he gave to his family. The other half he wanted to go learn. They say with the Chafetz Chaim, after he gave up I said he for a short while he was a Rav, so he opened a grocery store. His wife ran the grocery store, and the people in Radin knew that it was the Chafetz Chaim's grocery store, so they all wanted to shop there because they wanted to, they knew who he was. So he realized that other grocery stores were suffering because he had the monopoly, because people wanted him. So he insisted that his wife, the minute his wife earned enough to live for the day, he insisted she close the grocery store. And how did he live? And when the Chafetz Chaim one day went to visit in Vilna, the Chaim Moiser was the preeminent Pesach of the time, Chaim Moiser Gudzemsky. Him and his wife came in to visit them when he was in Vilna, and his wife, when she was leaving, even Reb Chaim Moiser has curtains on the window, and the floor is not made out of earth. In other words, he had flooring on top of the earth. He lived in a house that had actual flooring. So the Chafetz Chaim looked at his wife and he said, well, the Chaim Moiser has so many people coming to him for shilas and visitors and everything. He has to look respectable. He says, who am I? He had such an honor. Do we need more than that? Do we need curtains on the windows? He covered it with whatever he covered it, and the flooring. We have a floor. What do we need to have tiles or wood or whatever it was? So that's the way Hillel lived as well. He decided this was his life. His life was Torah, and one day it was Friday or Shabbos. It was a famous story. He didn't have the money. He didn't earn enough money, so he couldn't get into the Beis Medrash. Or maybe he earned enough for Shabbos to give to his wife, but he didn't have enough money for the entrance fee. So what happened was he decided he was going to Beis Medrash. He was Talmud of Shemai and of Talion, the previous Zugais. So he wanted to hear what they were saying. It was Friday afternoon, and he climbed up on top of the roof, and it was winter, and he put his ear to the skylight so that he should be able to hear what they were learning downstairs in the shul itself, so he shouldn't miss a day of Torah. Unfortunately, it started to snow. It was snowing so heavily that he got stuck there. He got stuck on the roof, and he didn't realize how heavy the snow till they finished. And he was at that point he couldn't get out. He couldn't get out. The next morning it was Shabbos, and the Shemai and Avtalion are coming to give a shir. And it's dark in the Beis Medrash. usually by, what's going on here. It's much darker than normal. They look up in the sky like they see the form of a man. So they quickly run upstairs on the roof and they would take him down and they revive him and they bring him next to the fire. And basically there was a Chil Shabbos because to save a human life, there was a Chil Shabbos. And the Shemai and Avtanya said, for anybody, but for Hillel, it was Kedai the Bill Chal Shabbos. And from then on, they forgave him. He didn't have to pay the entrance fee. Somebody who so much needed and wanted, he couldn't live without that Torah, was deserved to come in and become and get learned for free. And of course, later he was nominated as the Nasi. So to say what Hillel says, you should all, when you say heavy, you should try to be like the Talmidim, like the disciples of Aaron HaKohen. I'll finish the Mishneh, it's a short one, and I'll explain it. Oyev Shalom, V'roidev Shalom. Somebody who is constantly, first of all, Oyev Shalom, he loves having peace. Roidev Shalom, he's constantly pursuing peace. Oyev Sabriyos and Makav Torah. He's somebody who's just a people person. He loves people. And Umakav Torah, and he brings them closer to Torah. And that's the raw Mishneh, so to speak. So first of all, Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen was the most beloved Jew in the Midbar. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Rebbe, and Aaron was the Kohen. But he was, we all know that when Aaron HaKohen doesn't say that about Moshe Rabbeinu. Aaron HaKohen, we know, was Oyev Shalom, which means like this. He couldn't take strife. He couldn't take when people were arguing. He couldn't take when husband and wife got into an argument and there was no shalom bayis. So he would go out of his way and he was a very busy man as a Kohen Gadol because he ran the show, so to speak, in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, in the Midbar. But he made sure that any time he heard of anything that was going on that was not shalom, he went there to make peace. Now the Gemara says that in order to make peace, you're actually even allowed to say a lie. If the consequence of saying the lie would bring about peace, and how would he do it? He would go into a house and speak to the woman of the house and say, do you know, the other day I was listening and I heard your husband say some unbelievable things about you. And I just came to compliment you that you're such a good wife. The wife is thinking, I don't know where he's getting that from because I didn't think we have such a good marriage. But if he's saying wonderful things about me, then maybe I'm making a mistake about what's going on over here. And then he would go to the husband while he was davening, and he would say something to the effect of, in reverse, your wife. And the people tell you, I happened to be, I was passing by the house, and she was there. And she was telling me what all the wonderful attributes that you have, what a wonderful husband you are. And he's thinking to himself the same thing that she was thinking, what's going on over here? But apparently I must have made a mistake. So when he got home, everything was all of a sudden there was shalom bayis. So technically he did something he shouldn't have done. He said a lie. But if the lie brings about ahava and shalom, then the Gemara says you're allowed to do it. There was in Yerushalayim, there was he lived about in the I think he passed away in the 40s, the 1940s. His name was Reb Zelig Braverman, very chashavid in Yerushalayim. He used to give a shir. Amongst the people who used to come to his shir was a man that came every day, and he started to complain to him that he's having a miserable. His wife is mistreats him in a way that he really wants to divorce her. He has a marriage is just not what he obviously thought it was going to be, or maybe it was already later in the marriage where people get grumpier. So he said, I want out. I want a divorce. What do you then? And he said, but first of all, the Gemara says that when there's chas v'shalom lo'eleinu, a divorce, the Shemayim sheds tears. It's a breakup of an original, something that the Rebbeinu Shalom was decreed. 40 days before a person is created. There's a baskel that says this person should be for this person, which in itself is a topic, because in back case, what if the guy is not such a good guy? You're destined to live with a not such a good guy. So the Chassam Sofer says with tefillah you can actually change your zivug to the one that's more suited to you. But in any case, the man, what happened to be he had no job because he had very bad vision, and nobody would hire him. So there was very little money in the house. And also because of that, because he couldn't see, it was very difficult to do anything in the house. So he didn't get involved. Maybe he tried wash a dish and it broke, and did it once, he did it twice, and finally things were breaking, or maybe he was falling over place. So basically he was happier out of the house. So the Rebbe tells him, give me 2 months. Let me think this through, and let me see if somehow something can change. And he says, I don't know what will change in 2 months, but in any case, the Rebbe says, listen, divorce is a big step. The Rebbe says, wait 2 months. So you wait 2 months. Sure enough, 2 months later, this back to Reb Zelig, and he says, I don't know what happened in my house, but I could tell you it's a different world. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. So he says, so do you don't want to have a divorce? Are you kidding me? He says, I love it at home. So he says, fine, wonderful. So let's keep up the this good relationship, and hopefully everything works out. What was going on? This is what was going on for 2 months. With Zelig, what he used to do, he investigated to see what about this wife, what the situation was, and he spoke to neighbors. And it turns out that she was very miserable. She had no money, very little money. He was a mess, and no help in the house. It's like, well, she also says, what do I need him for? So he knew that every morning for an hour and a half, she always went out shopping, and along the way she would stop with friends. But at minimum, she always left her house from 9 o'clock to 10:30. Reb Zelig went into the house every single day himself. He washed all the dishes, cleaned up the house, and when the woman came home, it was spick and span. And this went on, and she, all of a sudden, she's thinking, "Wow, I can't believe it! My husband turned a new leaf." And one night, she prepares a Slavish dinner, and he says, "What?" To what he said, "Oh, because you're so wonderful." He said, "Oh, I'm so wonderful. Thank you very much." She didn't know why am I so wonderful? And this went on daily for 2 months, and they got used to being nice to each other all of a sudden, and all of a sudden things were rosy. And then she came to Reb Zelig, by that 2 months later, and Reb Zelig said, "Listen to me. I want you to hire, and I'll make sure I get paid for a woman to come in, wash it, to clean, and to shop, and like this. It's a shalom bayis for a minimal amount of money for an hour and a half of a cleaning lady," and it worked. Another guy, many years ago, actually. First time I heard it actually was a Lieber Geld before even married. There was a man, same idea. He was very, very wealthy. He was very wealthy, but very cheap. So don't good at home. And he also wanted to divorce his wife. But he realized if he divorces his wife, it's going to cost him a lot of money, alimony. And he didn't want to pay it. So he went to the Rav. Imagine this. He says, "Rebbe, I want to ask you to do me a favor." He says, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" He says, "I want you to daven and be mispalo that my wife should pass away." So actually he looks a shock. "What are you talking about?" So, "I want you to be mispalo that my wife should pass away." So he says, "Nobody's mispalo that wife should pass away. What are you talking about? Why would you want your wife to pass away?" So he tells him what's going on in the house. So his wife says, the Rebbe says, "Listen to me. Nobody's gonna chas v'shalom be mispalo that a Jewish lady should pass away." He says, "Okay, I'll give you an idea." He says, "Okay, what's the idea?" There's halacha that if a person is noid menada, he promises to donate something. Somebody promises donations, and he doesn't deliver, so to speak. He just makes believe as if it never happened. So bad things happen. It's a klola in a way. And one of the things mentioned in the Gemara is many times, unfortunately, his wife will pass away. And so he says, we know the town needs a new mikveh. I want you to promise, go to the town, whatever, the mayor, and say you're going to donate a new mikveh. Donate a new mikveh. And he goes to the mayor. The mayor says, what happened to this cheap guy? All of a sudden he's coming into the mayor. And the guy says, yeah, I'm full clear. I'm paying for everything in the mikveh. I mean, the guy had the money, so he realized it's a possibility. He says, wonderful. So sure enough, he says, we'll make a meeting next week. The guy makes a meeting in his house next week, and he says, me? You kidding me? No way. I changed my mind. And that's that. So I'm sure I don't know why he did it in the first place. Anyway, he waits 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and nothing happens to his wife. His wife is still healthy and everything. Runs back to the Rav. He says, Rabbi, I don't know what's going on. You told me, you gave me an advice. I promised to build the mikveh like you told me. I made fun of them when they came to my house. And my wife is, she's healthy as anything. So the Rav says, I figured out the problem. The problem is that the reason why bad things happen is to punish you. But if you don't want your wife in the first place, then it's not a punishment to you. So Hashem doesn't want to take your wife out. Maybe he'll do something else. So he says, well, what should I do? He says, listen, best idea I would recommend is start treating her good, so that she shouldn't want you to die, and you shouldn't want her to die. And if things will go good, then she'll pass away, so you won't have to pay alimony, because then it'll be a real klala for you. So he's not really thinking very smartly. So he said, okay. He goes home. He starts treating her very, very well. And sure enough, he comes home with flowers for Shabbos for the first time in 18 years. And the next day he says, let's go out for a dinner. And then the day after that, he says, let's go to Florida. And things will all of a sudden look up. The wife's, what happened to my husband, a new leaf and everything like that. And all of a sudden it's geschmack in the house. It's geschmack for him. It's geschmack for everything is wonderful. All of a sudden one day, 4 or 5 months later, his wife develops a terrible cough. Now this guy's saying a terrible cough. Oh my God, she's going to die. I don't want her to die. I love her. We're having a great time now. Things are wonderful. So he runs back to the Rebbe. He says, Rebbe, my wife, she has a terrible cough. I have a feeling it's being McCoyim, because the Rav says, okay, so you have only one option. He says, go to the mayor and with a bundle of cash, pay for the mikveh and shine. So the Rav in his chachma realized how to make the shalom bayis and how to get the mikveh done, and how to squeeze a little money out of this cheap guy. And it turned out that everything, the whole man turned over in a leaf. And not only that, as I said once before, once he started to donate, things started to look good. Aaron HaKohen, as we said over here in Mishneh, is having mitamidav shel Aaron HaKohen, because Aaron HaKohen was the one in the midbar that everybody loved, because everybody wanted to be near him, because he was a man of shalom. He was a man that was oyev shalom, v'roidev shalom. He constantly wanted to do shalom. Now, a Kohen God was a very interesting halacha. That we know that if a person chas v'shalom lo yaleinu kills somebody by accident, he goes to Ari Miklat. There's 6 set up, originally 6, but 42 cities in total throughout Israel. Also some on the other side of the Yarden were also some. That if you had to stay there for the rest of your life. If you unfortunately, even if it was an accident, no intentions, but it's called Ari Miklat, and you have to go to this Ari Miklat for the rest of your life. Because Hashem orchestrated this from whatever the reason that you had to leave your house. Now, there's only one time he can come out of the Ari Miklat and be a free man, so to speak. When the Kohen Gadol passes away, he goes free. So if he unfortunately kills somebody through a car accident, and he has to run to Ari Miklat, he's in Ari Miklat, and what if the Kohen Gadol lives a week and he passes away, he can go out right away. If he lives for 25 years, he's there for 25 years. So many times the mother of the Kohen Gadol used to go and bring food to the people in Ari Miklat, because they didn't want that they should be mispalel, that the son should pass away. Here we have a place where people would daven. I want to get out of here. I'm an innocent guy. I was driving, although it may not have been as innocent as you think. But at the end of the day, the question is, why is the Kohen Gadol responsible for this man. Why would you want to daven at the Kohen? Why is he involved here even? Why is the Kohen Gadol involved? The Torah says that he's involved, but why? What was the reasoning that the Kohen is inserted into the story? That this person in one side of Eretz Yisrael, in the Galil, unfortunately was knocking down a tree, and the tree hit somebody and it killed him. He has to run to Galus and wait for the Kohen Gadol to pass away. Where does the Kohen come over here? So this is our mission over here. You should be from the Talmidim of Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen is Oyev Shalom v'Roidev Shalom. A Kohen Gadol's responsibility was and is constantly that he should be mispalel for Klal Yisrael, for the one that Klal Yisrael should. He was in the Beis Hamikdash. He was in the highest place of tefillah, closest to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And his job is really that his kedusha should help that the Rebbeinu Shalom should look upon Klal Yisrael in favor. These things shouldn't happen. That's why if we unfortunately see now, the percentage of Rabbanim that passed away next to the other people is astronomical. It doesn't even make sense. It's not, it's, the percentage of Rabbanim in Klal Yisrael is minimal. I mean, every shul has 300 mispalim or whatever it was. Some of them 1,000, some of them 50. But the amount of bigger Rabbanim and people are passed away is because Klal Yisrael looks to these people, and these people have, it's in a way their job to make sure that Klal Yisrael is in a healthy place. And if not, then there's something wrong here. And not to say there was necessarily something wrong with him, but at the end of the day, the job wasn't done. So the Rebbeinu needs to take away sometimes these people so that other people can be taken. First of all, that's what punishes Klal Yisrael, and also other people maybe take over that will replace these in a way that the Rebbeinu will be happier in Kaviyachol, happier with Klal Yisrael. So the Mishnah says, "Have a mitalmidav shel Aaron HaKohen, oyev shalom v'roidev shalom, oyev v'sabriyos u'mekarvin l'Torah." What is oyev v'sabriyos u'mekarvin l'Torah? People who go to Rage, people who go to any Kiruv organization. I remember somebody once called up my son. He's in the restaurant business, and he tells him he has a whole Kiruv thing going on in Shul on Avenue U. He needs a major catering thing, just whatever you can put this. What's the point of that? The point is when somebody feels like he's, first of all, like they say, to a man's heart is to his stomach. The way to get him to think to his heart is to make him happy, to make him satisfied. And the same thing with a woman as well. Everybody, if you're satisfied, you're much closer to the person that makes you satisfied. If somebody is in the Kiruv and he is a people person that loves people, he's genuine. When he talks to you and he smiles, the smile is real. You want to be closer to him because you realize that, like we said the other day with a friend, you want to have somebody that you can relate with, not even relate to at that point, but at least want to be close to, because he's real. When he tells you something, he really feels your pain, or if he's happy with your happiness. And that's what Kiruv is all about. Kiruv is all about making the other person comfortable enough to trust you, to want to radically change their life, and to be like you, to want to emulate you. That person has such a good heart. Because where did he get that heart from? Where does it come from? Must be the difference between me and him as he's Shomer Shabbos. Or he goes to learn every day. He sits down by a table with his family on Shabbos, and the atmosphere is so relaxing and so wonderful. That is Mekarvin l'Torah. That's why it's a great thing to invite people like this to a Shabbos table, because they see something they never saw their whole life. Because there are no phones at the Shabbos table. Nobody's texting, nobody's listening to the news, everything is focused as a kiruv. As a kiruv means to bring closer. And if you're makarev with a different Torah, with a nice story, with anything you're makarev that brings the person closer because they want to be in that situation, you're successful. And therefore, I'm going to stop with that. So the Rebbeinu Shem should help that we should be able to continue with these things. And the Mir Hashem, I hope I didn't go too late over time. I didn't realize sometimes you get into it. But of course, again, because of the learning of Torah, and all of these tzaddikim that went should give us, be Meilat Joish for all of Klal Yisrael, but we should be able to, Hashem, have Yeshua's, Refuahs, and Simchas Mitzvah and Klal Yisrael. Have a very good day.
I mean, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.